How's it going, everyone? Today I'm bringing you the Stealth Arms Platypus. This has been a phenomenal purchase in my eyes. For right around $1,900, this will get you started in the 2011 game, especially since it takes Glock mags for all the people who like Glocks. This is going to be your go to. So I really wanted to go through and kind of break down my thoughts and why I chose everything about this gun. Because one of the cool features about Stealth Arms is they allow you to completely customize whatever you want to do, whether, slide, grip, trigger, every part they allow you to customize. So I want to go through and talk about kind of why I chose everything. So we'll hop over to that. All right, let's go over what were my choices for customization for the Stealth Arms Platypus. So we'll start with optic plate. They give you a few different options, whether it being Delta Point Pro, Trijicon RMR, and I believe maybe one or two other ones, the RMSC. I chose the RMR cut so I could put a Holosun 507 comp on there. It is a phenomenal sight and has a gigantic window, so I've been having no complaints with that. And people say Holosun, yeah, it's Chinese, but so far my Chinesium has been very reliable, so I have no complaints there. Next, we'll move to the slide. So the slide itself, I do like this slide choice because it has such aggressive serrations up front. Some of the other slide choices didn't have as aggressive cuts up front here, and I'm a real big fan of being able to pull and rack from the front, so I can always appreciate the cuts up front there. Next, we have the barrel itself. The barrel itself is a 5-inch bull barrel, so it's the thicker variant of the barrels from Stealth Arms. You have a choice between the pinion barrel or the bull barrel. And the pinion just has a different front end. It's more similar to the traditional 1911 front end. I've been having really good luck though with this bull barrel. It's been extremely smooth. The guide rod's been really smooth. It's just kind of, even compared to the regular pinion barrel from Stealth Arms, I do prefer the bull barrel. A lot of companies are going in that direction nowadays, so I decided to stick with it and just kind of go with everyone else. We have the ambi safety. So this was kind of I didn't really need it, but it was nice to have. So ambi safety, just so for the one time I ever decide to shoot left-handed, I have a safety over there. Kind of sucks that I don't have ambi mag release, but honestly, not the end of the world. I'll live with just having a right side. It's mostly a competition gun for me, so this is not the end of the world to not have ambi everything. Next, we'll go to the grip. The grip was a big choice on this particular build. I saw a lot of people go with the chain link grip, and the chain link grip, in my opinion, has it's a nice grip texture, but if your hands have any kind of oil in them or any kind of sweat, it really starts to slide around. So this prickly texture really bites nicely into your hand. It is not the extra prickly, so they have an option where you can do it extra aggressive. This does not have that option, but I'm curious to see here in a few months, we'll have another platypus which does have that extra aggressive. I'm curious to try that out and see what I think of that. But it was a good choice to get the prickly. I've had nothing but good reviews from everyone shooting it, that they enjoy that grip and just how it feels, how comfortable it is. So very happy with that choice on the grip. Next, we have a flared magwell. This has been huge for me. This is the first gun I have that has a flared magwell. And it makes my reloads so much nicer. So it almost feels like cheating when I'm reloading, going from my FN 509, which I've had the most practice with for 9mm. that is a pain in the ass to do fast reloads with. The mag loves to just catch on every single little edge and corner, so having this big funnel, you're able to shove mags in so easily. Next, I have the full length Picatinny rail. So that was an option. You could either do the partial length or the full length. I was a really big fan of what Bull Armory did and what a few 2011s are doing, of just how flat and smooth everything is up front. That's kind of why I kept everything 5 inches, kept the light the way it is. So it's just everything is very flush and smooth up front. We'll see if I add some sort of afterburner up front here. So far, just using the edge on this light has been working pretty good as a grip, so I've had no complaints on that. Next, and before I get too far ahead, I want to go over the trigger. This is the flat long trigger. So they have two options. They have a short flat, which sits very low in this trigger well, or they have the long flat, which is this option here. And I really like this long flat option. I think it sits a lot better in, easier to find with your finger. So it is, in my opinion, the best option of the ones they have. They have a curved trigger, but I am a fanatic of flat triggers, just how they look, how they feel. Especially on 1911, it's just such a nice feel to have a smooth, flat, crisp trigger. And especially with this one being a 3.5 pound pull, 3.5 to 4 pound pull. So I did not get the lightest pull. That is my one qualm about it. But otherwise, that is easily, relatively easily fixable going to a gunsmith, and having them take a look at that trigger spring. So not too worried about that, but let me show you guys the trigger, how that looks. The pull take up is extremely small. You can see that little tiny wall right there. That is all you have for take up. Then that's it. So it is virtually nothing for the pull. And then for reset, it is about the same. So this is all you need for reset. It is a phenomenal trigger, and I'm not able to outshoot it, and I hope one day I am able to outshoot it. So this has been a great choice for trigger, and I really recommend, if you decide building one of these, going with a flat trigger. Maybe the lighter one, if you like a little bit heavier, the 3.5 is great, but I'm a trigger snob and I like the light flat triggers. So next we have the light choice. This was the Balder Pro R from Olight. This has been a pretty nice light. It has a laser and flashlight combo. So you could do laser, flashlight, hit buttons from either side, or hit both, and then it does a nice strobe, which would hurt, but it has been a great light and adds a nice weight up on the front of the gun. So helps kind of keep it flat as you're shooting and gives you a nice platform for your thumb to also grab into, like I was saying, and gives you a nice firm spot to hold on to when the gun's shooting. So all in all, this has been a great gun, and let's get over into the disassembly portion and tear this thing apart and see how easy it is to pull apart and put back together real quick. And then after that, we'll get out to the range and go shoot a little bit. All right, let's get into the disassembly of the Stealth Arms Platypus. This has been a pretty easy pistol so far to disassemble and reassemble. Little quirks here and there that I'll show you, but it is pretty easy, all things considered. I mean, it's not anything rocket science, just takes a couple tricks. So first thing is you want to always check, make sure you have a clear pistol. Then bring your slide back and kind of give some downward pressure on this slide stop here until you get to this groove right in there. So you want to match that groove with the top of that pin, give it some downward pressure, and you should feel it start sliding out. Now you can grab it, pull your slide stop out, and that will release your slide from your lower. Set that off to the side. Now we have the fun part. So you can do this two ways. I've done this the caveman way so far, where you push pressure on your recoil spring, unscrew the first piece of your guide rod here, unscrew that, and then you can undo the pressure from your spring, and it should let out the there we go. I was being too gentle with it. Man, I am trying to be careful with this thing. Brand new gun. So, now the barrel doesn't want to come out. Come on. Oh, silly me. There's multiple pieces to the guide rod assembly. So there's the spring, there's your extension that goes all the way out to the slide, and there's the guide rod stop. So make sure you got all those pieces out, then your barrel should slide right out, and there is pretty much your average field strip. So that would cover just about everything you need to really get down and clean this gun nicely. I always recommend to use this stuff here. It's called CLP, or not CLP, the Lucas Oil gun cleaner. It works phenomenal for cleaning any sorts of pistol parts. And then the Lucas Oil CLP just to go over afterwards to kind of give it a nice lubed finish. But let's get back to putting this thing back together real quick. Let's toss the barrel back in. Then we take the first piece to our guide rod assembly, toss that in with the notch end forward. Then we can take our spring assembly with the notched end down, because that's going to rest on the barrel. And then you're going to take this piece, flip it up, make sure that piece is flipped up. I forget the name of that, but I won't try and act like I know it. This is the part that separates the boys from the men. You gotta pretty much compress this recoil spring back into the guide rod assembly, and yeah, do that all under spring tension and screw back the other piece. So there is an easier way, and they do offer a toolless guide rod setup, which I may look into here in the future, but this is an easy solution, and I am a caveman, so more force is better. So take that plunger, press it into our guide rod assembly. You want to make sure that's all the way in there. Oop. Get back in there. Come on. I had it so nicely. There we go. Now we can take the other half of our guide rod, stick that piece in the hole, and get this hand tight. So you want to get this, it doesn't need to be crazy tight because the tension is actually held by the guide rod spring. So now that this piece is hand tight, you can slowly let the guide rod or the recoil spring back, And you are pretty much back together. Now you want to make sure this little pin here is in the up 90 degree from, flat position. If it's sitting over to the right, it won't be able to lock in. If it's sitting flat, your recoil spring and guide rod will not be able to fit nicely. So now we can take our lower again, slide that back on, bring it back, and replace the slide stop pin back in the notch. Give it a good click. Notice this one tends to really like a good click. So it's in there. It's just gonna, oh man, jeez, new guns. But there you go. There is full disassembly, reassembly of the Stealth Arms Platypus. Alright, Stealth Arms Platypus. Let's do a little 2-2-2 drill. See what time we get. So far, best is 11 flat. So, see if we can beat 11 flat. We got each different stage I'm going to have to reload. So, three reloads, 6 rounds, 3 different targets. See how we do. 10:44 is time to beat. $10.21, not bad. All right, try that again. Last one was 11:22. So, sorry, it's reversed, but you'll figure it out. All right, 12:69. It's time to eat. Oh, I just turned off recording.